Hi everyone! Welcome to my balcony in my apartment in Taipei, and today I have an actual structured, thought out video for you guys instead of just like the kind of like rambling vlogs that I've been doing for a moment. And I'm gonna talk finally about my experiences being trans in Taiwan, in Taipei. Yeah, so I think that this topic is going to be a very, like, I don't know, good niche or like a good thing to upload to YouTube, because I was looking for it and I couldn't find any information about being trans in Taiwan or being trans in Taipei. I'm sorry about the noise. I really like filming out here on my balcony. I think that this is going to be like a really good set, but we will have occasional noise from like random cars and stuff on the street. Thankfully, I have a really good microphone, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to know, like, what is it like to be like a trans girl, like especially a foreign trans girl living in Taiwan and in Taipei. And I couldn't find any information about that online, on YouTube. I saw like a couple Reddit threads about getting hormones or just like general acceptance, but very, very little, you know? So I really hope that I can provide that perspective on my channel while I live here. And this video is going to be like a simple overview of a lot of the questions that I wanted to know before I came here. So hopefully it can help somebody else in my position. Like if you're trans and you're thinking about moving to Taiwan, then I really hope that this video could be helpful for you. But yeah, so I had some questions about like, will my ability to pass change? What is it like to get hormones here? What will my opportunities for dating and romance and sex and intimacy be like as a trans lesbian here? What about making friends with other trans and queer people, and what is the acceptance like? Can I be out to my friends? And also like acceptance in the workplace and general like societal opinions on trans people. So yeah, I'm gonna cover all of those things in today's video. If you like it, then please stick around for more. I have a lot of content on my channel already about being trans, and I just moved to Taipei like 2 months ago. So I don't have like a comprehensive understanding or perspective on like what it's like to be trans in Taipei. You know, I'm speaking from my own experiences, and I've only been here for 2 months. But I'm gonna keep making videos about my time here, so if that sounds interesting to you, then stick around for more. So I've kind of prepared a thesis statement for this video, which is essentially that in my personal experience, it has been good being trans here in the 2 months that I've been here so far. It's been relatively simple and easy, but the key point there is that that's in my experience. I am a trans girl, a trans person with a lot of privileges. I'm white, I'm relatively passing, I have medical and legal advantages, like I got my name and gender changed on my documentation in the US before I came here, and I started like a hormone regimen that has been really effective for my body. I started that in the US and then kind of manipulated my insurance a little bit to get like years worth of extra supplies of estrogen for free. So I don't even need hormones here. I'm still trying to get them, but I'm set. You know, I don't need to change my identity documents here. I don't need to get hormones from local doctors here. I just can live my life, and as long as I pass, then I'm fine. So I have a lot of advantages, but from what I understand, for like the general trans experience here, especially for locals, it's more difficult. There's still, unfortunately, a lot of medical gatekeeping, gatekeeping of like doctors like withholding hormones or withholding surgeries until you pass certain requirements, like seeing a psychologist or like needing to like have certain amounts of like lived experience or whatever. And there's also, unfortunately, employment discrimination, and like the acceptance, just general acceptance within society is not amazing. Like a lot of people's parents still have a big issue with it. And so if you come here as a like a foreign trans girl who hasn't taken some of those steps in your transition process yet, like getting your legal documents changed or getting your hormone regimen sorted, or even the very basic thing of needing to get your hormones, like even if you've been on hormones for a while and you need to get them here, it's not always simple and easy, unfortunately. I'm just very, very fortunate that I have all of the hormones that I need already. But yeah, there's definitely some challenges. But I will say that it doesn't seem like this is a culture that's like actively hostile towards trans identity in the way that like there's kind of like a, you know, like the culture war happening in the West, like specifically the US and UK right now, where there's a lot of people that are like very actively like hateful and transphobic and like go out of their way to like make trans people's lives harder. And it doesn't seem like that's much of a thing right now. It seems that just general awareness of trans identity is not very high right now. Like, people aren't actively hateful and malicious towards trans people here, but people just aren't aware of transness here. So that's like an overview. Let me go over a couple more specific points. So, like I said, I'm relatively passing, and that was true at home, and it's true here. Like, I pass at home pretty much all the time, and I pass here, I think, all the time. I don't think I've ever been misgendered. I've had a couple moments where people had to ask a question, but I've never been misgendered. And I thought that maybe I would pass better here than I did at home, and that's maybe the case. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell, but generally, I stand out here not because I'm transgender, but because I'm white. I'm a foreigner. I'm a tall girl with wild, bushy, curly hair. I don't look like anybody else here, really. And it's not because I'm trans. It's just because of, like, my race and ethnicity. So I definitely stand out here, and I definitely get stared at, but that's, like, what all foreigners experience here, basically. And so I do think that, like, potentially people notice that about me a lot more than they notice anything about my gender. Like, they just notice that I look white and I look like a foreigner, and that kind of, like, overrides their perception of my gender being weird. I have had a couple students, because I teach English at, like, a after-school English school here. A couple times I've had students ask me, "Teacher, are you a boy or a girl?" Like, when they first meet me. And I could just go, "What a rude question. Of course I'm a girl." And then they're like, "Really? Ah." And then they don't say anything else about it. I mean, maybe they're thinking about it. Maybe people here think about it in general more than they say. But I do think that, like, it's kind of, it would be kind of rude here to just ask somebody questions about their gender. And also people kind of rely on, like, traditional, like, expected gender markers a lot here, and then just make an assumption, and then don't really consider trans identity as a possibility. Like, just, like, hair and clothes, that kind of thing. Like, if you have long hair and you're wearing a dress, then obviously you're a woman. Like, there's not a lot of questions to be asked there. So I pass, and I live my life and go about my day as normal, and being trans is not necessarily relevant to my life here. People just see me as a woman and treat me as a woman, and I'm very fortunate in that. And it's not that different from the US in that regard. Like I said, I think that there is less awareness of trans identity in general here, especially among older generations. But younger people, and queer people especially, are, like, aware of trans identity. It's not, like, completely unknown to, like, young queer people. And I have made a lot of friends here, made a lot of, like, young queer friends, like friends with women and queer people, and nobody has had an issue with it. Like, it's been comparable to my experiences in the US, honestly. Maybe on average people understand it just a little bit less, but everybody is chill with it. Everybody just intuitively gets that I'm a woman, and I've never had anybody be weird about it. I had one friend who knew that I was transgender ask if she should call me he or she. And I don't think that was out of her interpreting me as like a guy or something. I think that she just was genuinely ignorant on trans issues and didn't know like if she should call me he or she. And I told her, I'm a girl, just call me she. And also in Chinese, there's not gendered pronouns. Like, there's not a distinct word for he and she. It's just a spoken gender neutral pronoun, ta. So in Chinese, that issue doesn't even exist. So, I don't really blame her for that, for just needing to ask and check, which honestly I appreciate, actually. But yeah, queer people here, very chill with it. I haven't had any issues making friends or with friends being weird about my transness. I'm open to my friends. I'm not out at work. That's not really something that I want to be like openly like known or like discussed about me in a work context. I do have one coworker who is like the only other like North American white girl in her mid-20s, and she's also queer. Like, we were very similar demographically, so we've hit it off quite a lot, and I have opened up to her, and she knows that I'm trans, and I appreciate that I have her that I can trust, but I'm not open at work. I'm essentially stealth at work, and that hasn't been an issue at all so far. The only thing is, like I said, I've had a couple kids just ask questions, but it hasn't been an issue. And then in terms of dating and sex and hookups and stuff, also hasn't been an issue at all, actually. It's been very similar to my experiences in the US, where people are, and I only date women. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'm a lesbian, essentially, basically. But yeah, I only date women, other queer women, and queer women are chill. What can I say? They've never had an issue with it in the US or here. Everybody is super chill about it. And sometimes they're even excited about it, honestly. Occasionally, commonly actually, people will have questions, like they want to check with me about things before we are intimate. And that is totally normal and expected, and I appreciate that they're taking the effort to check with me. And that's really similar to how it was in the US, too. This is a topic for another video, but also I have had no trouble with polyamorous dating here. I don't know if it's just like me naturally attracting the type of person that I would click with, but every single person that I have had any kind of romantic or intimate experience with here so far has been already engaged in or open to the idea of like a polyamorous or open or non-exclusive engagement, or connection, whatever, So yeah, dating, intimacy, sex, romance, not an issue for me here so far. Certainly not because I'm trans. In terms of queer culture here in general, I think that it's very focused on maleness, and it's also very cis-normative. I think that the queer culture here is not very intersectional right now. It seems kind of like what it was in the West and in the US a few decades ago, where like most people's awareness of queer LGBT issues are basically about gay men, cis gay men, might I add. And queer women, like sapphic queer experiences or trans queer experiences, trans masculine experiences, or trans femme like sapphic experiences, all of it. Like, anything that's not just, like, cis gay men. It just seems like very much on the sidelines of the queer community. Like, all of the gay bars or whatever very much cater to gay men. And from what I've gathered so far, it seems like it's easy to meet queer women in the spaces in which you would expect them to be, like art spaces and music spaces. And I've heard that there's like a lesbian nightclub, but I haven't been there yet. And, you know, there's one that I've heard mixed things about, whereas there's plenty of gay bars all across the city. And there's also an interesting culture here, like a pretty prominent, like, butch femme culture. They call them T's and P's. T's are butches, P's are femme, and it's not exactly analogous to like Western ideas of butch and femme, but it's similar. And it seems like there are like lesbian communities and like lesbian like cultures that like emphasize that a lot. And then you can, I don't know, I don't really know actually. Like, I haven't encountered a lot of this culture except on dating apps. I've seen people like that look butch or femme to me list themselves as T's or P's, and I've read a little bit about it online. But I actually haven't had that much firsthand experience with this culture, so I think I'm gonna hold my tongue on talking about it more. And that's another thing that I would really like to emphasize, and I don't think I've said it enough in this video already, but I am a foreigner, I am an outsider, I am very new to this community and culture and society. I've only been here for 2 months, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I just wanted to share my experiences and what I've learned as a queer trans woman in this place in an English language format, because there's just not a lot of like English language information on the internet about queer and trans life and community here. So I'm sharing my perspective from living here for 2 months, but I really don't know that much about this culture and how everything works here and what Taiwanese people think, what Taiwanese queer people think, or what cishet people think. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, please. But yeah, so I think that is the state of like the queer culture here from what I have seen from my perspective. It's still pretty cisnormative and still pretty male-centered. In terms of getting hormones and legal recognition, I mentioned this a little bit at the beginning of the video, but yeah, there's definitely still medical gatekeeping here. So I, like I mentioned, have a lot of extra hormones, like keeping me supplied for the foreseeable future, and I don't need to get hormones here, but I went to the doctor to try and get hormones anyway, just to keep like filling up my supply anyway if I can. And I was able to find a doctor after a little bit of just difficulty navigating the hospital. I was able to get an appointment with a doctor who had experience treating trans patients, and this was at the NTU hospital, by the way, the National Taiwan University. And he saw me, and I presented him with some printed out information about my treatment history, about my hormone regimen, about my prescriptions, about my blood labs and hormone levels, and kind of explained to him my experiences so far. And he had a lot of questions, some questions that were like kind of funny to me, based on my own experiences, but realistically were just a little bit gatekeepy. He seemed like a chill guy, but I think that he was just following like the standards of care here, which are a little bit behind. But he was like, he pretty quickly asked me if I had any surgery or wanted to have any surgery. And I was like, no, I haven't had any surgery, and I'm not planning to get any surgery. And he was really surprised by that. He was like, really? Really? He asked if I'm pretty sure sorry about the motorcycle sounds. I'm pretty sure he asked if I had top surgery, like breast augmentation. I was like, damn, babe, you think that this is from top surgery? Like, from breast augmentation? No, like, this is from the hormones. I took it as a compliment, honestly. But he was asking about bottom surgery, and I was like, no, and he was really surprised, and he asked, like, if I saw a psychologist in the U.S., and I was like, I had a therapist that I really love and connected to, and she helped me so much. I don't know if she was a psychologist. I don't think so. And he was just like very, I don't know, like puzzled, it seemed. And he said, like, this is so funny. He's like, are you sure you want to be a woman, or that you are a woman? And I was like, come on, babe, it's been years. Like, yeah. And he like chuckled, and he was like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's just that, like, people usually like want to like rush into getting the surgery and like want me to just like check all the boxes for them. So usually we like, I don't know exactly how he phrased it, but what I heard was, usually we gatekeep people. I was like, well, I'm past all that already at this point. Like, I've been on hormones for a while now. I've been transitioning for a while now, and I'm not even trying to get surgery. So you couldn't gatekeep me on the surgery if you tried. And he also, I guess this is like an important piece of information that I should share with you guys instead of just telling my story. So he showed me the hormones that they had available and what they usually prescribed. And they usually prescribed estradiol pills and a blocker. I don't remember what the name of the blocker is, but it's the one that's pretty common in Europe, but it's banned in the US. And it's also the one that they most commonly use in Taiwan. It starts with a C or something, I think. Honestly, can't remember. But yeah, estradiol pills and blockers, what they give people here. Which is actually what they give people in the US too, usually. But, we also have access to injections, patches, progesterone, different types of blockers. And I'm personally on estradiol valerate injections and progesterone capsules. And he's like, yeah, we don't do that. But clearly it's worked really well for you. I mean, I see your blood lab results here that you've showed me, and your levels are amazing, and you look great. So clearly it's working for you. And I would love to help you and give you the like hormones that you want, but we just straight up don't have injections. We don't have any like injectable estradiol esters. They didn't have estradiol valerate, estradiol cypionate, or the other ones that I don't remember the name of. And he said that if I wanted those, I would probably have to go to a different hospital and try and find them, but he honestly doesn't know where in Taiwan I can find them. So I might have to try a couple different hospitals. He gave me some leads, but yeah, injections just aren't common here. So if you come here and you need to get your own hormones like from a doctor, just know that like injections are not easy to come by. If I find out where to get injections, I will definitely let you guys know. But for now, like, I didn't get any estradiol from him. I didn't get the pills because I have plenty of injections left. And that's another important thing, is that I don't think that the national health insurance here covers trans health care. I don't know if it covers estradiol. I did get progesterone, actually. He gave me some progesterone capsules. 200 milligrams a day is what I take, and I got a 3-month supply, and it was like 500 NTD, which is like $15 US. So it was a pretty good price, actually, but it wasn't covered by the insurance at all. And I don't know if estradiol is covered by the insurance. Probably not, and I don't know how expensive it would be, honestly. But yeah, so that's the situation for hormones here. I also think that like, so I was in an advantaged position because I had been on hormones for quite a while already, and I just showed him like, hey, I know my shit, and this is like what I've been taking, and it's worked well for me, and he was like more than happy to help me out with that. But I think that if you try to start hormones here, or you don't have like if you haven't been on them for as long, or haven't like prepared like a good like rundown of your like HRT treatment plan, then it might be harder to get the hormones that you need. You might face more gatekeeping. Maybe like my doctor was just especially chill. Like maybe if you meet other doctors, they'd be less chill about it. So there's definitely like things to consider there. But I think the bottom line is that estrogen is available here. You can get pills. It's not ideal. You can't get injections. There's a lot of gatekeeping. I think that locals might need their parents' approval, which is really fucked up. But you can get estrogen here. And it might not be covered by the insurance. It might be hard to get, but you can get it. Yeah, I think that about covers everything. Please let me know if you guys want to know anything else in particular, if you have any specific questions for me about being trans here. Like I said, I've only been here for 2 months, so I imagine that I'll continue to share more information and like make follow-up videos for this one, videos on more specific topics about being trans here. I think I'm definitely also just going to keep making videos about other stuff about living in Taiwan. I'm hopefully going to like broaden the horizons of my channel a little bit to not just talk about being trans in not just talk about being trans, but talk about living in Taiwan generally and like what I find here, like queer community here and like the music scene here. I joined a band actually. It's only been 2 months, but I've already joined a band here. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so I think that's all I've got for you. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you enjoyed my new set, which is just my balcony. It's a really funny setup. I've got the camera pointed through the window, like in my bedroom, out onto the balcony with my tripod balanced on my bed and my chair, and then sitting out at the table here. And this is actually the second time I tried filming this video. Last night I tried filming it and it cut off halfway through, I think because my phone was low on battery. But anyway, I got the video done, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stick around for more. Check out my back catalog. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.